All right, we are live. That's okay. Talk about whatever. It's no different than being in person in a meeting.
Right, that's
Yeah.
true.
So,
Hopefully we get somebody else that comes.
yeah, I don't know if people are coming in person or not.
'Cause I think there were some
We had
responses.
8 people saying that they were going to come.
Yeah, we had
So.
8 responses.
So, we'll see. If people come late, great. If not, welcome anybody or everybody that's on there.
Two.
Woohoo!
Oh, okay.
Awesome. We've got 2. Well, one is probably me viewing.
Okay, possibly. So, all right. Well, I'm not going to wait too long to get us started because I know we have a lot to cover tonight. So that being said, so we'll motion to call the meeting to order. So, all right, motion seconded, all approved. All right, everyone approves. First thing we'll do, get it out of the way, is minutes from our last meeting. We posted them on Facebook the other day. They're also on our new website, which we'll cover in a few minutes. So if you hopefully you've all had a chance to look at them. But that's the main thing we did is the elections the last time. That's where we came up with the new board. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting? Motion seconded. Okay. All in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Motion passed. You can get past that. All right. I know you guys have heard this before, but other people may not have. Wanted to real quick cover the purpose and the mission for the boosters, as especially we talk about our framing and what we're doing with our planning, which is one of the big things we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the meeting today. And that is, really we're charitable and educational support for the staff, students, teachers, basically everyone at AUGS. We will provide financial resources as available through fundraising and different things like that. We'll promote involvement of parents through volunteer opportunities and encourage school spirit. So if you think about some of those different things out there, you look at, I kind of bucketize them a little bit. When we talk about supporting our students, there's financial support through programs, things like scholarships, different things like that. Volunteer support, that means that we can provide support to volunteer running of events and different other programs that are going on. If someone says, hey, we're going to do the Warrior Mile, but we need volunteers, that's something they can come to us for. Just examples. And then school spirit activities, so things that we can do to help raise the spirit of the school, make people feel involved. Support for the staff is pretty much around the same way. The financial end is though for grants for programs that they would like to do. That's something we have out there and available. Volunteer support, again, helping them with their programs and things like that. And spirit, much in the same way, we want them to feel part of it. Also, the staff appreciation portion is a big part of the spirit out there as well. And then families, as we look at that bucket, that's also an important bucket that we have out there. One, to provide the opportunities to volunteer and have that kind of involvement going on, and then the ongoing spirit that we have out there as well. So those are all things that I kind of want us to keep in mind whenever we're thinking about programs and our plans and whatnot. They should fall into some one level of those categories or buckets. So, if you've not been to one of these meetings from me before, I really break these meetings up into quick updates and then deep dive topics. The quick updates are really just going to be, here's what's going on with this, maybe a minute, 2 minutes to cover the topic, and then we move on and go from there. The deep dives is where we'll really dig in and have discussions. So we'll start with our quick updates. We launched some student, family, and staff surveys. To date, we've had 19 students fill it out, 4 staff, and 28 family members. I have some I sat down this morning and looked at the last bit. There could have been some more since this morning, but I took a bunch of notes and some of the things that they have, some of the breakdowns, some of the tallies and whatnot. I'll save this for when we start talking about the planning, because I think a lot of this reinforces some of the things that we've already started to talk about with planning. So it's really not going to take us that far off topic, I don't think, but we have this out there. Once we get a little bit more, I'd like to especially get more staff, being that we only had 4 staff members on there, but I know their email's been down, so it's been hard to get in front of them and whatever. So hopefully we'll get more people into these surveys and whatever. I haven't sent out any emails on our behalf or anything yet, so we'll really start to promote this stuff and go from there. These have been out there for less than a week. So even that we got 28 families, that's great. Great that we got 19
I was
students.
gonna say, I was impressed with
That's
the
awesome.
students.
So, and it's
I gotta
kind of
get
funny.
tired.
There's a few things that conflict between like what students and what staff think and what families versus students think and whatever, especially as it pertains to them. But there's some similarities in there as well. It's really kind of cool. Just that I'm starting to see. We'll see how it changes. But that's going out there. We'll keep going with that. We'll post again about those surveys and see if we can get more people to do it. But definitely will help influence what we're doing with our planning as we move forward. Website, as we were talking about before we went live here, we did put up a new website. It is available at www.augsboosters.com. If you type that address in just like that, you will get to the new website. If you do a Google search for AUGS Boosters, Illinois, whatever it is, and then click the Google search results, you're going to go to the old website. One of the challenges is the old website was not created in the official AUGS Boosters Google account, so I can't turn it off. I can't do certain things. I was able to unlink it from our domain, augsboosters.com, but there's some issues there, and we're working on getting that resolved. Another issue that came up, though, is that Facebook has deemed that www.augsboosters.com is in violation of the community standards. Don't know why. Don't know what happened. I don't know if it's because there's two websites that have operated under this. I have no clue. It's basically they're calling us a spam for somehow. But I've checked our domain name. There is no references to any spam blacklists or anything like that for this domain. Now this domain, augsboosters.com, is up for renewal early September. So we'll have to pay, I think it's $37 for 2 years, to do it. So choice that we have. So wait, let me go back to the Facebook thing. I disputed this and said, hey, we're not in violation of any of your community standards, and all they give you is a form and say, if you don't think you're in violation, tell us why. So I did that. There's no period of time. We'll get back to you in 2 weeks or whatever. Just, that's it.
It's just out there.
It's just out there. I have no idea. It could be weeks, could be months, could be never. Don't know. But until then, we can't use augsboosters.com in any post on Facebook. It just won't let you post it.
Can we do AUGS Warrior Boosters?
I looked, that is available. So that is an option that we could do. Instead of renewing augsboosters.com, we could just abandon this URL and go AUGS Warrior Boosters if we want to. Cost is about the same. So there's a little bit of back end work to it. Nothing worse than what I've already done to try to switch this over. It's just
That might be the simple.
crazy. It might be the easiest thing to do because even if we can get the other one shut down and stop getting it listed in the Google rankings and whatever, it may not solve the Facebook part.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to go on from that. So we'll talk about that as the executive group on there, especially since there's not a big cost difference. We'll go for it. I like AUGS Boosters because it's a shorter URL. It'll fit better on flyers and whatever, but what are you gonna do? Also, so we are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We started an Instagram account there. We gotta start posting more on there, but we will. We also now are on Twitter. Again, gotta post a little bit more on there, but we will. We also just started TikTok. So for anybody out there that's with TikTok, we're gonna start getting a little creative with that. That is one of the things that students said that they would count as, I think that was their number,
To get information.
yeah, to get information. That was their number 3, tied with Instagram.
Okay.
So actually, number 1 was paper flyers. Can you believe that?
No. I
What student
cannot
has ever
believe
brought
that
home a
at
paper
all.
flyer from
I
AUGS?
think that's all they
Yeah,
know,
I think that's a little
though.
crazy. I don't know if they need to make paper airplanes or what, but email was number 2, and then Instagram and TikTok were tied for number 3 in that. We also have a YouTube channel, so once we're done with this Facebook Live recording today, we'll be taking a copy of that recording and downloading it, putting it up on our YouTube channel, linking it off of our website. That's out there as well. Other ways that you can get information about us, email, and then we also have our, through Remind, we have the SMS/text function. So you can sign up for that as well on our website. So there's a link on there. If you go to the Contact Us page, you'll be able to find that. So that's the website in a nutshell. Spirit Store. All right, so I talked to American Outfitters. We can definitely do a Spirit Store with them. They do not think that we can do keep it open all the time, like reoccurring month. Because what's going to happen is then our costs will go through the roof. Our costs are, based off of really
Volume.
getting it in that period of time and condensing your orders down and making bigger runs, because if they're smaller runs, it's going to cost more.
That
So
makes sense.
the thought is to do it one sale per trimester and just have it out there, and we'll really promote the heck out of it, and just have every trimester we'll do a different sale. We'll definitely have some new items and things like that going out there as well. I'm working on some alternate team designs, so I've got some different designs here that I've just kind of been going through. I sent the 50th anniversary one over to Mr. Caney to look at, because we had talked about how this is the 50th
Right.
year, or 51st, somewhere in there. It's somewhere in the middle there, but we're going to call it our 50th year for that design. I haven't gotten feedback from him on that yet, but the other ones I haven't sent him yet. The only people that have seen these are my daughter and my wife so far. So we'll have to share these out and see from there. But these are some designs that we could have on some of our different spirit wear
Yeah,
as
look
we
great.
move on there. And then maybe have some alternate designs for the different teams, whether you're a knight, a Spartan, or a Titan, and have some of those. So I've got some basic ones on there. Not really thrilled with them yet, so I'm kind of massaging those a little bit, and we'll get those out there as well. We'll get those in front of the admin team to look at, give their feedback on it, and then we'll move on with it and get that spirit store up. The goal is to have the spirit store open the first week of August, so that way we can get something out to the kids that are in transition camp, that this is going on, and then we can have this for some of our other events and get it ready for back to school, and really push on it hard, so that we can maybe close out the store in early to mid-September, so that we can get the spirit wear items for people to start wearing early on, because it normally takes about 4 weeks or so after the close. Well, maybe about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it
2 to 3,
kinda
2
depends
to
on
3.
that, but yeah.
Depends on what they have and if there's back orders and things like that. But so that's out there and going on there. So I do need to touch base with American Outfitters on this again. I have had some issues with them with back orders and stuff in the past, but honestly, with the amount of items that they have and everything else, I think it's really the right fit for us.
Yeah.
It just is. So we'll have that out there and get that going. All right, now we're in deep dive time. So first thing we're going to talk about is planning. I kind of broke this up and kind of to break this to everyone in the who, what, when, where, why, how. If you're in journalism at all, it's the main questions that you're always asking for. But as far as planning goes, who, the executive board, we started talking about this already. Obviously, the quorum of anybody that's here, looking to see if anybody's going to join us here or not, but if anybody that's on Facebook Live, we did have a conversation with Mr. Caney to kind of get some of his thoughts on some of these things as well. So a lot of these things that we're going to talk about here have lined up with things that he was already thinking of. We've taken some other ideas when we talked about the 50th anniversary and some other things out there as well. So we're trying to incorporate all that information into this plan. What are we trying to do? We're trying to develop a rough, and I want to say rough plan, because things are going to change. We know that's going to happen. We want to do that. We want to be able to evaluate as we're doing things, what's working for us, what's not working with us, the ability to change. But this is at least a rough plan that we can operate against, and then we can make changes as we see fit. And then the other big important part of this is the budget. As Erica pointed out very early on, we have to have some kind of a budget so we know what we're operating against, what our plan is, and how we move from there. Again, rough. There's going to be times for changes, and we're going to make amendments and things like that, but we got to start somewhere and move through it. When, obviously, I'd love to have this plan ready before the first day of school at the latest. If we can get this, locked in and going from there, that would be even better. But we want to get this out there as soon as possible so we can hit the ground running on the first day or before the first day. We're doing it right now. So we've kind of already talked about some of these things. We've got this roughed out plan that we're going to share with you right now, but this is going to be a good time to see some feedback. Whether you're on live with us right now or you're watching the recording, make a comment. Tell us what you're thinking. We'll keep it open and we'll keep those going as we're going to do this, because it's not going to be 100% locked in today. We're going to have time for changing and doing different things. So our goal is to have that year-long calendar that we can publish out and the budget, so we know how to operate against it. I kind of already mentioned that, but that's there as well. How are we doing this? We're looking at the past events. All of us, at least that are here, have been involved with boosters before. We know things, how they've worked, the pluses, the minuses. That's always going to be something that's going to be out there that we look and try to use those past events that we can use as projections to make conservative. And I say conservative because I always want to say, especially when we're looking at the budget, you'll notice I put down numbers on there. I went low on the numbers for the projections, especially when it's coming in. And normally on the going out, I try to go a little high. Can't always guarantee that because it's a bigger school, everything there, so we're going to try to see. But hopefully the goal is we're low on our coming in, and we're low on and we're high on our going out, so it should shift out and be better for us. But we're going to learn from that, and we're going to see how things go. That's where we need that room to go from there and really project out how we're going to do that. So looking back, I kind of went and did a calendar. We've got some different things going on here. We've talked about having our meetings the first Wednesday of every month, starting at 7 p.m. I'm going to try for August if we can be back in the building. If we can't in August, we'll come up with another alternate site, whether it's here or somewhere else, to do this. But definitely by September, we should be out there. I talked with Sharon Lewis over at the district, and the building reservation form that we had used for the previous years, still the same. So there's no different regulations or anything like that that have changed for this year. So we should be able to book those and go from there. One thing we're going to talk about after we talk about the planning is the pool party. That's scheduled for August 13th. We've got our back to school meet and greet from 3 to 4:30. The plan is we will have a table and a presence there. We'll look for some volunteers to kind of swap up for that hour and a half and go from there. We'll put a table out. We'll have a monitor, maybe this one right here, and we'll do some slideshow type stuff and have that going on there and have sign-ups for our different things. Have a little handout that's kind of who we are, maybe our first trimester plan on that page as well, that people can take with them and how they can get more information, how they can be involved. Some of our fundraisers, if we have different things like that going on, like our spirit wear, other things like that, we can have flyers there available for that. If not, we'll have the banner for it. It's all on the website. People will be able to get it there as well. We'll disseminate the information as much as possible, but we'd like to be a part of that. And that the next day is the first day of school. So that's looking at August. September, again, our meeting, curriculum night, very similar to back to school night. We'd like to have a presence there. I don't know if they would allow for us. Curriculum night at August is a little different though. They don't really have that, everybody sits in the room and sees a presentation before they go off to their classrooms or whatever. So I don't think that would probably work, but I think we can have a presence there as we move on. I have on here in green on the 10th listed Warrior Club. That's kind of what I'm dubbing the new Teen Canteen. Don't know, we can call it Teen Canteen, we can call it whatever we want. I was trying to come up with something a little bit more modern for it. I don't know how many people know the origins of Teen Canteen. I actually had to Google it, to be honest, and see that it went back to World War II. Yeah, so it's kind of an older thing, but you know, the idea is to provide that social night in the school where we can have open gym, you can have music, you can have TV shows playing, different things going on. And this is a reoccurring thing that you'll see we have planned once a month, is what I'm going for right now. Also, we have listed on here is a food night. So that would be something where we look, you know, partner with a local restaurant and try to have some kind of a food night there. The idea is to provide opportunities. It's not asking everybody to do everything. It's about providing an opportunity. If somebody wants to do it, great. If they don't, you know, whatever. That night is completely up in the air. I would try to avoid like doing it that same week, that curriculum night, and we're doing Warrior Club the same night or whatever. But the idea is to shift it around, and maybe different restaurants have different nights that they allow. I seem to remember a lot of restaurants wanting Mondays and Tuesdays, so I kind of kept them all on the calendar for those dates, but they're flexible. We can do it. So if we say this month we're looking to do Antioch Pizza, okay, well that's a Monday or Tuesday, we pick the one, we do it from there. We're gonna do Culver's, well maybe they're Thursday and Friday. I know they're not, but if that's what they say, well then we look at doing it on a Thursday or Friday. Doesn't matter, it's flexible, but the idea is that we're gonna do one that month. Let's see, October, looking at some of this stuff. Again, you'll see the Warrior Club, you'll see our meeting, you'll see another food night in there. And then the other thing that I have in here is something a little different. I know when we looked at the family surveys, a lot of people talked about family nights. having those. And that's a tough one because students don't really want that. Families do. I'm not saying let's not have those, but now let's have too many of them. But I thought, well, maybe we could do a parents' night out, whatever it is, and we partner up with some kind and do some kind of silent auction along with that, and we try to get some items and get some raffles or whatever it is and do that. And then I was thinking, well, maybe if we did it in October, maybe we could do it at the new Rivalry Ale House, which would have just opened recently. That's slated to open in August. October's not too far away. That might be a perfect place to try to do something like that and introduce people to that restaurant if they haven't been there already. So that's something we could look for. Again, just an idea. Not saying we need to do it there,
Right.
but we can definitely think about that. But that was the idea for that. Do some kind of event like that. Auctions have really worked out pretty well. One of the things that families said that they would be willing to support is raffles. They thought that was a pretty good one. So having a raffle or a silent auction, things like that, might be a nice way to do it. Putting it in October, not in the very beginning of the year, gives us time to pull that together, though, too, because you got to pull together the baskets and the prizes and things like that. Things that we can look at doing, which might not be too late to do at this point in time. I know, like, a lot of the local sports teams will do stuff. The Blackhawks, or not the Blackhawks, yes, I think they might. The Bears, the Chicago Wolves, a lot of the sports teams will give away tickets or different packages, things like that. Jerseys, you have to get in like on the earlier side of the year and ask for that kind of stuff.
Right.
Now, that's the past. We're in a different world right now. We'll see what happens, but we can give it a shot and see how it goes and go from there. But it might be something fun to do. I have it on a Thursday night, could be a Friday night. Again, I just plug the date in, see what happens.
But a
Figure it out from
costume
there.
event with it being Halloween.
It could be.
That
Do you
could
think
be
parents
fun,
would do that?
yeah.
I think
It could
it'd be. I've always wanted to have one to go to, but
Yeah.
never really did. I don't know.
Like a masquerade ball.
But yeah, or something. Yeah,
Something fun like that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
maybe the theme or something.
Yeah.
So,
Right around that time.
yeah. So that's the idea for October. Kind of go from there. I think what I've done for the Warrior Club or Teen Canteen, Teen Hangout Night, whatever we're going to call it, is I was thinking like that pretty close to early in the month and do like every Friday early in the month. Maybe whether it's the first or the second Friday. I think maybe I have it on the second Friday. I think I've got it the
Yeah,
second
there's-
Friday of every month. All right, fast forwarding to November. We've got a food night sprinkled in. We've got our meeting. We've got Warrior Club. There's conferences that month. Now, whether those are in person or hybrid or virtual, don't know. We'll see how that shakes out. But if they're in person, we'd like to have some kind of a presence there. Savers Drive, we talked about doing that over conferences. Out of all the things, most people have said that they've done nothing for boosters. No staff, no students. A few families have said they had, but the number one thing that they said that they did, or only thing, is Savers Drive. So yeah, looking at the families, 71% of people said that they had never done a boosters event. Of the people that answered our survey, 18% said they did Savers Drive. That was the only other answer, other than nothing. So
Well, it's been tough too because last year there really wasn't much of anything, and the year
Totally get
before it.
totally get it. So,
Exactly.
but just to give you an idea of where we're at,
Yeah.
the bar's low.
Yeah.
So all we have to do is step over, it, But let's see if we can do a little bit better than that. But those are things that we can do out there as well. Then we have no school because we have the Thanksgiving break. I thought maybe we could try to do like a movie theater day, whether it's a day or a night. But get two theaters, get the whole theater going. You got two different theaters at Antioch Theater, and do something there. I think when we did one a few years ago, they'll let us say, okay, these are the movies we have. You can pick from one of these, or you can bring in your own DVD, Blu-ray, whatever it is, and we'll play that one. So if we buy it, or have the DVD or whatever, we can give it to them and let them do it. And I think what we did is we ended up buying Mary Poppins because they didn't have that. Or no, they didn't have Mary Poppins. I don't know what two movies we did, but we bought one of them because they didn't have it on Amazon for $22,
Right.
and then gave them that and they played it, and then we raffled it off later.
Perfect.
Oh, there you go.
Whatever. But that's something we can do. Something for the kids to go out there. I mean, that's really all it is. Give them something for the kids that aren't traveling or whatever. Give them a little something extra to do out there. So that's November. December, we got our meeting, Warrior Club. Looking, I don't know, do we want to have a family event? We've talked about doing it, but maybe Christmas time is the time to do a family type event. Obviously, you probably don't want Santa. You're past that age or whatever, but maybe we could do some kind of Christmas and tie it in with the musical groups and have the AUGS choir and the orchestra and the band and have them do some kind of performances while people sit and have hot chocolate and do whatever it is. I don't know what we can turn that into, but I think we can turn something into some kind of holiday festival
I would
around
like
that
to
time of
see,
year.
yeah, definitely something along those lines, and maybe even incorporate the parade this year if there is a Christmas parade or winter parade.
Do they have a
There
winter
did.
Christmas
We
parade?
actually
It's a huge
participated. I
parade.
mean, it's a huge parade
Okay.
downtown, and then I would like to see something afterwards where we have like a boosters table and we sell hot chocolate,
Yeah.
because that was lacking when after the parade there was nothing to do. So
Well, and that's it.
I
Maybe
think
it's
that's perfect.
do the parade and then come back in. So
But it might be
I don't
that
know. We'll have to
weekend.
look and see about if we have that or whatever. Open to ideas. It's just a thought. It's the holidays. It's a nice time to have a family event. It's
Yeah.
when people are
Yeah.
looking for things to do, and maybe it's even something as simple as we show a movie in the background while people are doing. We throw holiday movies on. We throw Home Alone. We throw Christmas Vacation. Whatever the movies are in the background, and have them playing in the background while people are having their hot chocolate. They're talking. I don't know. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. And then food night. I thought about instead of doing food night while people are in school, why not do it over break? Give another something to do for people that are around for there. Also, you'll notice I put in there like having bowling in there. Something to do that time of year. We could also change that out with maybe ice skating. Maybe we could go to Rinkside
Sure.
or someplace else and do some kind of ice skating type thing out there. Or maybe it's not ice skating, maybe it's roller skating. We go to Bella's or something like that, a roller rink or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just an idea. But again, it's a teen hangout time outside of school.
Right.
Easy to set up.
Yep, exactly. But people say, like, teens don't want their teen hangout night necessarily at school. According to their survey results that they said,
Yeah.
they would rather have it someplace other than school.
Right.
They're interested in the one, but more interested in the outside of the school. So if we give them a bit of opportunities in both places, I think that's kind of a win-win. Looking in January, again, another food night. We've got our meeting, another Warrior Club. Talking about tubing, talking about another experience that we can do out there. You got to wait till the weather cooperates with that. January's probably our best bet if we can get that going. I think that was mildly successful when the last group tried it. I think we can probably do better. I think we can probably get more involvement and go from there with some more advertising and pushing it out there and whatever. So I think that's something that we should explore. And that's kind of a cool, fun event as well.
Especially if we've already gotten the presents through the first part of the year, it's
Mhm.
just going to make it easier
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
involvement. So
Mm-hmm.
Looking in February,
Forward to it.
yeah.
yeah, our meeting, Warrior Club again, have another food night, and I thought about if we're going to try to do something, maybe a Wolves game. I have it on a Wednesday. I'm not saying it would necessarily be on a Wednesday. It could be on a Saturday. Sometimes they have on days where there's no school. So like on President's Day, they might have a daytime game, and maybe that's something we can look at out there as well. We'd have to contact the Wolves and see what dates they have available and things like that for a group, but we can start looking at that and try to schedule something out there as well. Because I think I haven't heard the actual projections for that, but it sounded like people bought tickets for that and were interested in going. But unfortunately, it got canceled because of the pandemic, and then they all had to be refunded and whatnot. So I think it's worth another shot to give it a go.
That was successful.
Cool. So and maybe they even have nights where you can, like on certain Saturday nights, you can stay and skate afterwards on the ice. If they still do that, I don't know. But those are things we can talk about when we talk to the Wolves sales rep about that. And I used to work for the Wolves, so I know one or two people that still work there. I can reach out to somebody and see if they can tell me who to talk to these days and whatnot. But I'm not sure that I really have really good connections there. But who knows? But I'm happy to reach out. March, we've got spring break in there as well. Warrior Club, food night. Again, spring break, I'd like to plan some kind of activity out there. I don't know what that is. That can be a dicey time of year as far as weather. It could be either gorgeous or it could be horrendous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And we talked about bowling. We talked about movies. We talked about ice skating. We talked about roller skating. So there's a lot of options that we could do there. We just need to pick one and say which
Yeah.
one do we want to try for
I
that.
mean, you could do things. Do they still go to like Sky Zone and the American Ninja Warrior? Those type places.
They might.
I
You
know Tyler probably still would, but I don't know. Like when you see it's 8th grade, I don't
Yeah.
think
I don't.
so.
I don't know. 80s are still kind of big with some of the kids these days, as we've kind of talked about in the past. So maybe roller skating would work. I don't know. Who knows? You know, another one that I know some kids do still is like action territory or whatever. But I don't know if they're really open that time of year. And is that really that fun if you can't go outside? But maybe we could do like GameWorks or Dave and Buster's. I mean, it's farther,
Yeah, sure.
but
Yeah.
you might get a little more involvement there.
Something that has like
We
a
have to put our
laser
thinking
tag
cap on and
things like
figure
that.
out what,
Yeah.
Right.
what these are going to be. But the idea, again, another activity for people that aren't here to go do something.
Yeah.
Then looking in April, we talked about meetings, Warrior Club, food night. Do we want to have a family event again in the spring? My idea was we're going to do a family event. Do one in the first half of the year. Do one in
Yeah.
the second half of the year. So if we're going to do one around the holidays, I think we need to do April before things get too busy. And May is just crazy with the end of school and sports and everything else. At the end of April, we might be able to fit something like that in. What that event is, I don't know. You know, when the first time we did it at Petty, we did like the totally awesome family date night. I don't know if that would quite go as well, you know, with this group or whatever.
Probably
But I don't know what that idea is, but something for us to talk about and think about. We've got a lot of time between now and then, but if we want to do a family event, that would be a time to do that. May, end of school, we've got all the same things we talked about, food nights, different last days, all that kind of stuff. There's going to be staff appreciation week in there. There's going to be a lot of other things going in there that I don't have on the calendar yet, but these are just kind of like the tent poles, you know, that we're looking at. And then June, we'll have maybe a last meeting, maybe not. I don't know, it depends. But that's looking out there. We should be done by school by then. I'm realistic in saying since they went full remote, I don't think we're going to have emergency days anymore. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
So I think this having the emergency days on the school calendar is kind of not going to happen. So, but I have them listed here. The E's on there say emergency. All right. So we talked about all these different things. These are on here. We talked about what buckets they fit in. So for Spirit, you know, a lot of these activities fall under Spirit. Things that have asterisks are things that, to me, in my mind, are more than that. They're fundraisers too.
Right.
So now, granted, there's things that we might be able to make money on besides that, but they fall into multiple buckets. So I wanted to kind of call them out for different things. Other things that fall in the Spirit bucket. We have the pool party, 8th grade and plus 6th and 7th grade end of year activities. We talked about that as well. That's not on the calendar, but those are things that we can do out there as well. You know, the Warrior Club, Team Canteen, whatever we call it, the different out-of-house nights to do things. We talked about, well, the executive board talked about these AUGS Ninja Awards, and this is some kind of a recognition program that we can pull together for students out there, for not necessarily the same people that get Student of the Month and whatever, but it's for doing little things. You know, you help somebody, people get nominated for this, and then we can call out people and try to make them feel a part of something out there. And there's some ways that we can do that, and I'll talk about that when we get a little more time, but I want to keep going through this. Spiritware, we talked about that. That's obviously, there's a spirit component because we'll have new things, people will be proud, like the things they like, but that's a fundraiser for us. A holiday raffle. The idea is maybe that goes in coordination with whatever that holiday
That
event is,
family night,
and
yeah.
we pull the winners for that. I think when we did it, we sold raffle tickets and we gave away a Nintendo Switch, and we had a couple other prizes out there as well. I think it was a Nintendo Switch. Oh, grand prize was $500, a Nintendo Switch, and I think those were our two prizes. I think that's all we had. We might have had some smaller ones like consolation prizes, but those were the big ones. And students and staff, I have students, parents, a lot of people that, I mean, who doesn't want an extra $500 around Christmas?
Right.
So it's really a cool, easy way to do it. We're selling raffle tickets, and it's an opportunity to go out there as well. So that's something we could do out there, especially if we can't pull off the parent night out and some of the raffle things, we can use those other raffle prizes or whatever. So I think it's something that we can do that's relatively easy. Sell some raffle tickets and go from there. We can even sell the raffle tickets online. It's not a huge thing. spirit. Teacher grants, I think that plays into kind of the spirit of the teachers. We're helping support them. I think it creates some things like that. And the family nights, obviously. We talk about other types of activities, transition camp scholarships. We talked about that. We were approached and asked if we would provide scholarships for 2 students to go to transition camp. We approved that as the executive board, so that's happening. So that's an opportunity that we have out there. We can do some things. Conference meals, I'd like to do that for the conferences if staff is going to be in person. Kind of like staff appreciation, that's on there as well. And then holiday bucks, that was a popular thing. When you ask family, they wanted us to help provide support for them to be able to recognize teachers and things like that, especially at this level. I think when there's more teachers like that, I think people are more interested in doing that than, oh, I only have 1 teacher, so, you know, it's whatever. So I think that's something we can continue to do as well. Going from fundraising, a lot of the same things we had on there. We got our food nights though as well. I've got Spirit Wear on here twice. I just happened to notice. Our family nights. We talked about the auction and parents' night out. Booster Pass was another thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's something I talked about with Mr. Keeney. If anybody has been involved with D117, well, at least Lakes. I don't know if D117 as a whole does this or not. They do a Booster Pass, so you pay a certain amount of money, and we have to figure out what that's going to be, and you get a little pass. And with that pass, you can use that to get into the basketball games or whatever, instead of having to shell out $1 per person every time you go to the game. Or do I have cash today or whatever? You use that pass, you can get in. Your name's also on a list, so if you forgot your pass, you can get in there. That's something I'd like to do out there as well. Whatever funds that they were using for the different things, I'd be happy to provide those funds for whatever they're using them for as well, because I don't want to cut off somebody else's revenue or whatever to do it. But we'll work on that and figure out how that goes. But that's something I'd like to do. We talked about doing the one and done fundraiser. That's that idea where we're going to send out something, and instead of, you don't want to participate in everything else, but you're willing to give a monetary donation of X amount, feel free, and then your conscience is good for the year and you don't have to do anything. We'll do that as well. Amazon Smile, we're not going to get a lot of money from it, but we'll get it set up, because any bit of money we can get is great. And then Shop with Script, that's something that's already set up at the school. It's something we've done before. That's where you can go out there and say, hey, I'm going to buy gift cards because I need to buy gift cards for teachers, or I need to buy gift cards for my nieces and nephews, or whatever. You can go in there, buy the gift cards that you normally would buy, and the boosters get a certain percentage back. So no additional cost to you. You're just buying it through them, and buying them when we buy them together in bulk, we get a certain percentage back. So that's an option out there. I like that, even just for the simple fact of when we do something like, if we're going to give away gift cards in a raffle, or we're going to do gift cards for what it's the teacher incentives or whatever it is, we can buy them from there, and then we get a percentage of that to ourselves. So it's just basically like giving ourselves a discount. So looking at a proposed budget, on the left of the screen, we've got money coming in. On the right, we've got money going out. And then on the bottom part here, we've got our current balance with the money in and the money out. The way this works out, without going into too much detail, is we will be basically leaving the end of year balance, if everything goes according to plan, with just a little less than what we started with this year. I personally am okay with that. We're a charity. Technically, in theory, we're supposed to kind of zero out, you know, at the end of the year, so we shouldn't be sitting on a balance. And spending up or spending down is okay, as long as we leave enough money for the next group or whoever it is the next year to operate and get off the ground and whatever. But the idea is, it's okay if a little bit. We're talking, the difference is about, I don't know, $800, maybe $900, based off of this projections. Now, granted, my projections for food nights and different things like that are very conservative. So just knowing kind of like what we did at Petty, you know, we looked at Culver's night and stuff like that, we would get $350 at least for every Culver's night and things like that. So I think looking at the $200 level, there's going to be some that are going to perform lower, there's going to be some that are going to perform way higher, and we go from there. So those are kind of the numbers that we're looking for. We'll have to watch this, see how it goes, look at our budget, see how we need to change things. But this is kind of the operating costs that we want to do there. One thing I will call out when we look at the buckets of money going out, you know, we've allotted like $5,000 for teacher grants. Whether we use all of that or not depends on how many teachers request things. Based off of what I'm seeing, no teacher out of the 4 that have answered has ever asked for a teacher grant. That was only 4 teachers, so who knows? We'll see what happens. But I do know that sometimes the teacher grant budget does not get used up. Sometimes they don't ask for that help or whatever. So we'll see what happens. There's other areas that could be a little higher. When I look at operating costs, I include 2 years of operating costs through all of this. So it's not only just this year's of operating costs, but it's next year's. I always try to plan for that 2 years just in case there's a horrible year, maybe a pandemic or something, I don't know, that really affects things. But I always just want to look at that. And this is something that I always thought was a good idea. And it was kind of proven this last year that I think it is maybe a better idea than I had ever thought about. So that's something that I've included in there as well. It's still not a lot of money for 2 years of operating, $1,000 total, but that's just our dues, insurance, and then the cost of the website. That's really all it boils down to. And again, kind of inflated those, rounded those up, so it's actually probably less than that. So that's the proposed budget. We looked at. I know this group here has seen this when I sent it out a little bit earlier, just to give them a taste of it. But that's it. When we look at budget allocation, just so we know, again, you kind of see that same chart that I have where you see current balance, money in, money out, what we're left with the year. I kind of tied these to the different buckets. We look at how our budget allocation is going. 40% of our budget is allocated to grants, teacher grants. 20% is to Spirit, 12% to staff appreciation, which is a branch of Spirit, if you really think about it. End of year, 16%, again, branch of Spirit, I guess. Operational, 8%, and then I had put like $500 in other. That's if we need other things, kind of a slush fund type thing. You can use it however we want, or absorb it, reallocate it, add more to it, whatever it is, but that's out there. So that's kind of the plan, just to give you an idea of where the proposed spend is. Now, if you go back to that and you start looking at the money out and things like that, you don't see everything listed on there. You don't see the pool party listed on there. We take that out of Spirit because that's a Spirit activity. Could take that out of other. That's out there as well. Or if there's ways, I didn't count everything, like every single event, because there's also an opportunity to make money to offset that cost at those events. So if we think we can make money and offset those costs, then that becomes a money in, not a money out. But there's some things that I'm anticipating, maybe I'd be happy if they were just washes. Like if we get the pool party to be a wash, that would be great. If not, we have funds for it, we can take it out of a different area or whatever.
Right.
We'll reproject that. That's why this is all rough. We'll see how it goes. So that's the proposed budget, and any questions, thoughts on that before we go to the pool party?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. I think everything is so clear and concise. It's
Yeah, you did an
awesome.
excellent job. I'm assuming that the Savers is covering the 8th grade picnic and all that.
However we allow it.
Right, that's what I'm assuming.
And I don't have costs in there for it. Because I don't know that I had that. Yeah, I don't think I had
Right.
budget projections. And the projections that I've heard are crazy. Like one I heard was like $1,400,
Yeah,
and another one I heard was $700. So I don't know which one's right,
Yeah,
and I don't know which one was
I
the
think
most
when
recent.
you did it was like around 700, a little over that.
no, it's almost 1,300.
Was it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever it is,
And the
But
8th
there's gonna
grade,
be-
she said was 1,500 was the thing, so, and the other lady did close to 18 to 2,000.
Wow.
1,800 to
Mhm.
2,000, so that's really good,
Yeah, that is.
really good.
so we'll definitely see how that works. The good leg up is that families do know about that
Right,
event,
Yeah.
so we can make that as something bigger and go from there. So that's out there as well. So yes, those are things. There's some things in here that I did not project what the costs are for that and what we're going to take in from it because I don't know.
right,
That's gravy.
yeah, that's.
If we can get it in there and whatnot, that's
Yeah.
really the thought of it. And some of that may make up for areas that don't do as
Right,
well, or ones that do. There's going to be hits and misses. They just are. bottom line is there's money left over. We're basically only consuming $900 of what we inherited.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. There's still a nice chunk to cover hits and misses
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And still leave enough for the next group. So, but hopefully we're successful and hit some, really good balls out of the park with some of these other things, and we're wildly successful and things work out well. We can do other things. So that's the thought. Any major changes, any glaring things, people that are on Facebook watching it, whether live or recorded, please chime in any thoughts you have for it's a rough plan. We'd love to hear thoughts.
Definitely.
All
Yeah,
right.
we have just a couple people watching right now.
Okay, great. Should we move on? Talk about
Let's
pool
move
party?
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go on to the pool party, even though I pulled it up, what we'll do is the executive board will take any feedback that we get between maybe now and the next 5-10 days, whatever, next week. We'll solidify this plan, and then we will, at our next meeting, vote to approve it. We'll try to solidify it, and then we'll start publishing it out. And that's all we can do, and see how we go. I think we'll publish out on the website the tentative and whatever, but like when we do flyers and whatever, we'll just keep it at a trimester, so it's only 3 months or whatever it is at a time to push that out there. All right, so the pool party. Julie, I think this started with you, which was a great idea out there, and everybody's chipped in and done a lot of work on this, except for me, I think, because I did the planning. But so I think the thing is that we're looking at having a pool party Friday, August 13th. Chime in if I'm missing something or whatever, if I've got something wrong. Time from 7 to 9 p.m. The cost for us for the pool is $500. There's a $100 deposit, but we get that back, so I didn't even include that. That's just a wash at that point in time. I put plus because there probably will be other costs that we'll need, and I'll explain that as we talk about some of the details. I've looked at this as a spirit event.
Mm-hmm.
If we can offset the cost of this through other things, we will. If not, it's just going to be a spirit event, and we're bringing people back together, and that's what this is about. Details. There will be no admission charge to the pool. We cannot do that. So to get into the pool is free, but we are limited to the number of people we can have in the pool. So my thought is we need to get wristbands. And the idea is for the pool is for having only students going into the pool to catch up. That's not siblings. That's not parents. That's students are the ones that can go in. They can be around, but they can't be the ones in there swimming. You don't have a wristband on, you're not in the water.
Perfect.
That's my thought on that. Any objections to that?
No.
Everybody's in
That's a
agreement?
great
Okay.
idea.
We also have the pavilion next door, at the Williams Park Pavilion, I think is what it's called there. Forgive me, I don't know all the park names. But we have that pavilion that's right outside there. One thought that we had was to do food trucks. Let's pause and talk about that for a minute.
Sure.
I know that there's some rules about permits and different things like that. Do we know, or can we get any food trucks?
I've actually reached out to at least 15 separate food trucks
Okay.
to see what we can get. I have been able to confirm one,
Okay,
and then, so my idea is that we do the one food truck,
okay,
which is El Zorro Tacos.
okay,
And they're able to do that night. They're able to accommodate anywhere from 100 to 250 people,
okay,
no problem. And then I thought we could give an alternate choice of pizza. So I thought if we were to bring pizzas over, and I contacted, it's called That Pizza Joint. It's right on Depot Street,
Okay.
across from the pavilion.
okay.
So I contacted them to get prices for pizza, so we
They're
could
right across
actually
the parking
sell
lot.
the pizza. Yeah,
You know,
they're in the
that
train
parking
station
lot
parking
is
lot.
connected to the Williams Park Pavilion. Did you
Right.
know that?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I just realized that the other day.
So the only problem with that is that the amount, the quantity of pizza is kind of up in the air as to how much we would need.
Okay,
She's able to produce up to 6 16-inch pizzas every 10 minutes.
Okay.
And we could work out all the numbers and things like that, but the pizzas would be $10 a piece
Okay.
for a 16-inch with one topping.
Okay.
So I thought we could do that and kind of make money. We could sell it for $2 a slice or $1
Okay.
a slice and go from there. And then if we did El Zorro tacos on top of that, that would give two options.
Okay.
And those are both confirmed options.
Okay. And El Zorro?
Yes.
Is it just they're coming? Do we get anything out of it?
They have zero minimum
Okay.
and they're paying the permit fee
Okay.
because they have to be licensed in Lake
Okay.
County.
Sure.
So, that's a $73 fee.
Okay.
They haven't offered anything additional besides like a tax exempt type of situation.
Okay.
But they have no minimum
Okay.
and they would charge, each person individually so that we wouldn't have to, because I started to look at catering options.
Uh-huh.
The only way to do that is to have their staff collecting the money
Okay.
and then balancing the budget at the end of the event, but then they have minimums.
Okay.
And then we're limited onto what we can actually serve.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I thought having two options, the taco truck, which is a little bit more than just tacos,
Mhm.
We experienced them. They're actually in Antioch tonight. You
They're
can
good.
Head over
I've
there
been there
for the
before.
event.
Yeah. I was a little worried because somebody was asking for a recommendation and went to recommend El Zorro. I couldn't find them on Facebook. It's like
Oh.
they disappeared for like a day or two. And then they were back. I saw an event that they were back. Was
Yeah.
it tonight or yesterday or
They've
whatever?
been working so
Yeah.
hard this summer. I've been able
They're
to
cool,
talk to
yeah.
them a few
That's
times,
awesome.
and we worked with them at Oakland, so
So-
that was great.
Just to sum this up, El Zorro, they're coming. It's something to do, but we will not get anything from
Right.
it. Okay.
We would have the benefit of offering the food to our
For
guests.
people to stay.
Right.
But that's it.
Exactly.
But we don't get any fundraising from it. The only way to get fundraising off of that is to do pizza.
Now, what if we did also like a dessert type, like the snow cones, because they're usually pretty big and they do
Like a
provide a
like it
Kona
seems like the
ice.
Kona ice
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
I could find out about
I think that
Kona
would be a
Ice.
great
They
option.
do have minimums.
especially
Okay.
since it's 7 to 9.
Right.
Like that, sometimes people may have already eaten dinner, but they just want a little dessert type thing.
Well, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of the bigger food trucks, being that it's such a short amount of time, they didn't want to commit.
Because they're going to do
Right.
dinner somewhere else.
Right.
And, okay.
Exactly.
So, the other thing that we could do, I mean, pizza's definitely an option. It's a little bit more work. If we have enough volunteers and whatever, I think it could work. But what about even just selling pop and water and just having a thing like that where we
Oh,
have
yeah.
coolers loaded up with stuff? Because I don't know if El Zorro would be mad about that, but
No,
if
I
we took
think
that
we
out
would
of there,
have
if
to
they
do
were
that
just
anyway.
focusing on the food and we were doing other stuff, and we could, to your point, we could do even other desserty type things, have cookies or whatever it is.
Sorry to cut you
And
off.
candy, no, but yeah, I mean,
Because are we going to do the sports for the AUGS sports teams? Because then I
it's
was
an option
thinking,
out there.
are we gonna load up then, we could sell Gatorade, water,
Yeah.
fruit snacks, we could get all this stuff
Grab
to
and go.
prepare for the sports teams.
Mhm.
And also start selling that then for the,
We'd have an
The pool.
inventory.
Well, that would be
Exactly.
nice
Yeah.
to have an
Exactly.
inventory. I don't want to carry too much inventory because I don't know what we can store and where we
Yeah.
can store it.
right,
So, that being said,
I think
I'm
the
okay going out there and
Yeah.
doing
will
that,
be
but if there is
necessary.
leftover of some of that prepackaged stuff, yes, we can
Right.
totally reuse it for that or
and
something
then the
else.
dances and
The
stuff like
dances,
that.
things like that. Yes, if it's a small amount of leftover, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's got some like massive warehouse that they're not telling me about. I just don't want to, you know.
We have basements.
Yeah.
Well, to some extent, yes,
We just
but
got rid of
there's a
some
little
stuff,
bit,
so we
yeah.
got room now.
So,
Yeah.
and I know that we can absorb some of
We
it,
can
but
all
I know
share.
we don't have that much room
Right.
either. So, I'm okay with that as long as we try to right size to some level. I would rather go out and
Kind of get it each time.
each time a little
Yeah,
bit.
sure.
But if there's leftovers, yes, I'm all for repurposing it and reusing it and whatever. But I think that's something we could do
That's a
out
great
there as
idea.
well.
Yeah.
Because part of that is Mr. Frank and Mr. Henkel will be performing from 7 to 8 there,
Yes.
out there in the
Yes.
pavilion, so people can sit there
And-
and have a Diet Pepsi
Right.
or
And Tony
Coke
did
or
warn
what, I don't know.
me that
I don't think we
when
can sell liquor,
the
but
apartments hear the band, she said to expect an influx of people from the apartments.
Oh,
So
Oh,
if we
okay.
do have a food truck or food, to
Sure.
expect to sell a little extra to the people at the apartments.
okay.
So she said that could happen. She said she's not going to guarantee it, but anytime
Yeah.
they hear music, she said they will usually come over.
okay.
That's a
So,
good idea.
I'm okay with that, you know, but again, the pool part is something we need to,
We have to monitor.
monitor
Yes.
and have a bouncer
Right.
Yeah.
to say, and people enforcing it out there as well. I don't know if we need to get some volunteers
I think we
with
should.
Yes.
a lanyard that shows that, or we get some green shirts and we're
Yeah.
the bouncers out there and we're like, hey, you,
Right.
out of the pool, you know, whatever it is. I don't know how we do that, but
Yeah.
we'll do something
Ryan
there.
would be great for that.
So would Trevor.
Do we know, does the pavilion have electricity?
It has to.
I would imagine they do.
Because I've got like a little portable sound speaker, which would be perfect up there. I know from 8 to 9 we wanted to have other music
Right.
playing,
Yeah.
and I have that, but the problem is the battery in it's not
I'll
very
call it.
consistent.
Oh,
But we
sure.
can use it, but if you plug it in, it's going to work out great. Otherwise, we need to look at getting something like that to play music out there for that time. Other things that we need to do, I know we talked about, do we want to have some donation stuff out there, you know, where people can make a donation. Thanks for doing this, you know, whatever. You know, if we want to have some fish bowls or whatever it is out there, we can look at that. Or whether it's scan this QR code and give it to us electronically through PayPal or whatever, I don't know. However we want to do that, that's out there as well. One other thought that we had is if we wanted to do something, and if we're doing this as spirit, not necessarily as fundraising, but we want to do something good. My wife made a suggestion, and I haven't contacted anyone, I haven't told you about this yet, but maybe part of admission to get into the pool is you bring some item that you donate to like Antioch Traveling Closet. Whether it's, you know, what they're looking for. It's going to be past their 13th. I don't know if that's in time for their back to school giveaway one or not. I'd have to ask and see, but we can talk to Lisa Fisher and say, we're gonna have this event, we're thinking about doing this,
Right.
what do you want us to ask for?
That's a
And then we
good
could
idea.
take those donations, deliver them to them.
Right. Yeah, I like
It's the
that.
feel nice thing.
It
I
is.
like that.
And it
Yeah.
makes
You know what I
sense.
mean?
Yeah, I do
So-
like that. Or even for our own kids at AUGS,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, whatever it is.
Yeah.
However we
I
want
mean,
to do.
Lisa
She
could
serves so many
disperse
people
it.
there
She
or
could
whatever.
disperse it, she'll know who needs it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I'm fine one way
Yeah.
or another.
Yeah.
We've done that before. We've asked, like when the pandemic first hit, I know we arranged to do like pizza. We bought a pizza for all the families that she serves at AUGS regularly, and so they got us like a gift voucher or
Right.
whatever. So yeah, we can work
Yeah,
on things like
absolutely.
that or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll reach out to her and find out about that. But that was something that I thought, well, that's actually a really great idea, you know, on how to do that. We'll have to figure out how do we determine who is an AUGS student and who isn't, because we don't have this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Registration lists won't be
Enough.
Are we going to send?
Are we
it-
gonna pre-sell?
I think
Are we
that
gonna-
Well,
they
we can't
should
really
have to
sell though. I mean, we
Oh,
can
I
ask
pre-
people to,
yes.
we can ask people to
Pre-register.
But they
RSVP.
have to RSVP.
I would think they'd have to pre-register,
And then
and we'll
we'll
have
have
the
to check them
lists.
off on the list.
Yeah.
And on the wristband, we can have their names already done,
Okay.
and then they have, you know,
Yeah.
then it's an honor
Might just be
system.
easier just to have a list and we just hand them the name instead of trying to get the wristband. Just in case there's an issue with the wristband, then you gotta try to
Right.
write on one or whatever. But if they have to have the wristband to go in the water,
Yep.
they've gotta check in.
Yep.
It can be honor system. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah.
you know, what are we gonna do? There's gonna be somebody that's gonna sneak in that's
Well,
not
there
supposed to be
is.
part of
There
it or
is,
whatever.
but-
But we gotta do the best we
Yeah,
can.
it's
You
gonna
know.
be an honor system.
So, and I hate
That's
to turn
the
away
first
somebody that
100.
does belong, just because we
Right.
don't know
Right.
either.
Well,
So,
I'm not gonna say, I couldn't.
no, I know. All right, Julie's not the bouncer.
Definitely not.
I could not do that.
So,
I promise you I couldn't.
Do we wanna still pursue the pizza thing? Cause I do like the idea of two different options
Yeah.
for food.
I think it's,
I
think
love
it's a
that
good
idea, and I think with the pizza, it's so important that we have no way of keeping the food warm. So if they can turn it around in 10
Right.
minutes, we can order as we need it. So planning isn't so confusing.
And then we just would have, someone has to run back and forth.
Right.
Kind of.
Our
Right across.
bouncers
Our,
would
the
have
husbands are
to.
good for that too.
So we need to figure out how many volunteers we need.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to get a volunteer sign up going. We need to order wristbands for this. I'm assuming we'll want some kind of a banner to hang on, probably out by the pavilion and whatever. That I don't know if we want a banner that promotes the event that we stick up somewhere. I don't know where we would put it.
I think we need to
think
plan
just
the banner
something-
for the parade too. I'm serious.
We need a
We'll need a
multi-purpose banner.
Yeah, like something that's
Like a
just like AUGS Warrior
multi-purpose.
boosters.
Yeah, that's exactly that's what it is. Auxiliary
Yeah.
boosters, and that's all it is.
That way we can use it for everything.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
The two, one for the pavilion, one for out there, and it's just general AUGS boosters. I'll design something. I'll send it to you guys. We'll commit. And yes, it will be something that we can walk with. As well.
Awesome.
We'll just put a pole in it and
Get
be
the
able to do it.
rivets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
I've been there, done that. We can do that. That's one of the other things that I put on the survey was parades. Like, do we want to do the parades? Do we want to
think
be more
it's
active as
fun.
part of Spirit and whatever? 4th of July parade. I know the Oakland Boosters did that, and we had signed up in the past to do the homecoming parade in Antioch
Oh,
and
that's
whatever.
true. I don't think of
So
that
there's
one.
a lot of different parades out there, and it's not just Antioch. It's Lake Villa too. Lake Villa
Yeah.
has their parade and whatever. So there's a lot that we can talk about doing out there. Lakes has a homecoming parade. You know, Antioch High School has one. There's the Easter parade. There's a lot of different parades. But if we have the things out there, can we do that? You know, and can we get a group of people together to do things like that? I think it's a great way of spreading the word and doing things. But at the same time, it's a struggle sometimes to get people.
Well,
Right.
and we'll ask our mascot to come too.
Okay.
Warrior mascot.
We can.
Yes.
So
We used to do it even when I was at Petty. The
Yeah.
little kids were so excited.
mhm.
Yeah, the kids like to do it. Like at the Oakland level,
Yeah.
they think it's really cool.
The tough part, and I don't know if this is still the case here, is you get kids that, oh, well, I'm in Antioch cheer,
Right,
I'm in
right. That is tough.
Vikings football,
Yeah.
I'm in this, I'm in the dance class, I'm in, you know, all these other groups, and does that, like, well, I'm going to do those. I don't want to do, you know, boosters or whatever. But we'll see.
Yeah, I guess until we try it.
We'll see. It's
We
an
wouldn't
option
know.
out there
Yeah.
and to see, but I think it's something that would be good. Again, I'm always looking for positive things to put the school in a positive light, so if we can help represent that, I think that's great. All right, anything else on the pool party? I mean, we got to do flyers, we got to get things going. I'll start working with that. So,
Are you
details.
gonna do the, since you're the tech player, you're gonna do the music list? You're gonna do-
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
Nice.
That's not a
Thank
problem.
you.
No problem. As long as we can find, can you find out if they have
I will call
electric?
them tomorrow, yes.
If not, we just got to look at something else. Okay.
I'll call
Couple
them
other
tomorrow.
things that came up. This is now general talk. We're kind of done with the pool party, right?
Okay.
We'll continue to move on with this. We can answer questions on that going from there. So I'm going to thank you attending, but this is kind of general talk time. Anyone have anything else they want to bring up or talk about?
I wrote down a couple of things.
What about, the bags that are submitted?
I think the bags that you submitted are a great idea. I love that the cost that you did in there. I think we need to do more of that. I think we talked about doing maybe a shirt
T-shirt.
or something like that. So that's something that we could try to work in there.
Now, is this just for those 20 new ones? Because then I feel like, well, what about the rest? I mean,
It's the onboarding kind of.
You know,
So
new
Okay.
maybe what we
staff,
consider
because
doing
there's
is we need to find out how many staff there are total. Then we consider what would be the cost to give everybody a shirt. But beyond that, what can we do? Maybe they get the shirt. Everybody gets the shirt, but only the new staff gets the total bag with the extra goodies and something else in that. Whatever. The other thing we could do is if we wanted to do a shirt for the whole staff, the 50-year or whatever it is, we could do that. We could also then give like a little coupon inside the bag for a free T-shirt out of the Spirit Store, and they could pick a T-shirt and we could do some kind of a coupon code or something like that. We could pick an item towards that. I can ask about that and see how we can do that. There's ways that we can do it, I'm sure, but we could do that and take that out of the profit from the Spirit Store. That's an option out there as well. I like the idea, but I think it needs to be more than just that little, you know, stuff that's in there. I think it's got to be something a little bit more meaningful. In there, we should also have something that's about us, how they can get more information about us, how they can request a grant, things like that, because these are new students or new teachers that could leverage that hopefully. So I think that's stuff
Once
we should put in
figure
there.
out what our website is, maybe we can
Yep.
just have that be.
It could be like a
stuff.
little postcard that we
Yeah.
put information on that they can go to. It's got a QR code. They can scan it to the website, whatever it is,
Sure.
and go from there. But I think it's a great idea. I think we should have that. Another thought I had that kind of ties into this to some extent. I thought about ways, how can we get more people to sign up for our thing? And I thought about when we have back to school night or whatever. When we first started at Petty, I did little static stickers that you put in your car or
Yeah.
wherever, and I think we sold them for like $2 or $3. I don't know what they were. They were a nice little full color, and it was WC Petty Elementary School with the Bobcat on there, the new Bobcat that we designed and whatever. So maybe we do like an AUGS like static sticker, and anybody who signs up for our email list gets one of these.
Oh, I like that.
If you sign up at back to school night or curriculum night or whatever it is, it's one of, we can also include one of these stickers in each one of the staff ones or to every staff member and say, hey, you're part of the community, let's do this. I'll look and see what the prices are on them.
I just got a comment. I'm sorry. It just came through. It says candy. They love candy. So
So
when
we
it
have
comes
candy,
to
like a bowl
teacher-
of candy. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, for
the teachers too, yeah.
we're a little delayed, so I wonder if that's.
Candy at the back to school nights and stuff too. 'Cause
Oh, definitely.
Candy draws.
Draws
Everybody.
attention to
Definitely.
the tables.
We'll put a
Yeah.
bowl of candy out at the back to school night. It
that
doesn't hurt
Stacy
anything,
Gorman?
but yeah.
Cindy.
Now I know when because I was trying to
Oh,
organize.
it's Mrs. Bukowski. She's the choir teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, candy, you got it, Mrs. Bukowski. We'll definitely hook you guys up with some candy.
I know there was
Ask for any
like getting
other
to the number of staff just in like teachers and those that had websites. So there was like occupational therapists,
right, you did
psychologists,
that.
all
Mhm.
that. I think there was around 74.
Okay.
So that wasn't any admin or any of the people in the front office or any
Well,
of the custodial staff
I
or any
want-
of that. So
I want to include all those people.
of course,
though.
that's what I'm
Yes,
saying. It was
so-
74 before all those people, so
Mhm.
that just
So
kind of
I'll
gives
talk
us.
to
Sure, it's at least 100.
Eric or Joe and find out a cost for that. Now, as we're talking about staff appreciation and whatnot, I had an idea today. I saw a post from Ms. Salata that today the admin team took off and went golfing.
Yeah.
They took the day off, they took a vacation, and they went out and they went golfing as kind of like a team building experience. They didn't talk about school or whatever, but they do this kind of like as an annual thing. This year's already passed, but I would like the group to consider buying a foursome gift card at a golf course, or seeing if we can get a donation for one or whatever, and trying to get them on place. So next summer, if they do it again, we can provide that for them as a staff appreciation for the admin team. You know what I mean? It's a nice, simple way. Because often, admin, they're like, I don't want to take that. I don't want to, do the staff appreciation lunch or whatever it is. I don't know if that's always, but sometimes I've seen that from different admin because they're the bosses and whatever. So maybe this is a way that we can give them to them and kind of prove. I think it's a great team building thing. That keeps them closer and that keeps things working. I'm all for it for a small cost like that. It's something I think we should consider as we move on. It came up, was fresh in my mind, so I wrote a note on it today and figured, well, let's talk about that.
I clarified the candy comments. She's saying to sell candy at the pool party. Kids will buy candy.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
Totally.
that's a great point.
Yes, yes.
So I think we should add
But I
that.
know staff likes candy too.
Drinks, candy, and desserts.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prepackaged stuff.
Yes.
Easy prepackaged stuff without that,
Mini muffins.
not stuff that doesn't necessarily have to be cold. Obviously, it'd be great. I've got a bunch of coolers. We can get some ice. We can cool off the drinks or whatever. But the other thing, all that other stuff, yes, we can totally have it. That doesn't have to be cool or whatever. Obviously, we can't sell ice cream because how are we going to keep it cold, or
Right.
popsicles or whatever. But we can sell cookies. We can sell cupcakes. We can sell all the Hostess things, whatever. That stuff sells like crazy.
Well, you'd be surprised how long Freezy Pops last
Yeah.
in 90-degree
maybe.
weather.
Yeah.
Maybe.
With some glacier packs
Yeah.
and some ice.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Okay, I'm wondering, just thinking of that T-shirt idea, if we do that for all the staff and say, if there's like 100 staff, and I don't know how much T-shirts would be, overestimating at $10 maybe, that's $1,000 right there. Our projected budget for staff appreciation is only $1,500.
$8. I'm just saying, $8 is normally, I think, what I get a one color, one side, maybe one or two sided. I've worked with Johnny DTs. We just did some stuff for like the 5th grade T-shirts and other ones. I think we can get them for about $8.
Okay. But that's still over half our
It is.
budget.
It is out
So
there. But we
I don't
we
mind
might
doing
need to
it.
see
I think we might need
other
to bump
sources.
up that.
We might need to see
budget.
other bits of funds or whatever. But if it's something we want to do, that's out there as well. We could also make it a low cost buy shirt. You know, maybe we split the costs up. You know, hey, it's an $8 shirt for $4. You can get one of these shirts or whatever. And
Yeah.
then they can. It's basically getting a Spirit Wear shirt for cheap or whatever. I don't know what it is. We'll figure that part out. But if we want to do it, we can do it. We'll figure it out. But we got to figure out what the costs are, and then we can cross that
Sure.
bridge. That's a, I mean, great point. But we need to figure that out. And who knows? Maybe if we sell enough candy at the pool party, all taken care
Well,
of.
we'll have to know before then, because
Yeah, we'll
we're
want to
a
get.
month
We're gonna have to get
school
going.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to get moving on it quick. A lot of things we get moving on quick
Yeah.
here, but
We're gonna need those sizes, all that kind of stuff.
yes.
So, yeah.
So we'll figure it out. But we'll figure it out quick time.
One other comment on Miss Glick
Okay.
Kowski
Kowski?
said she's going to reach back out to you once she's in school mode. She's got a lot of good ideas on choir things, and
Okay.
we're excited.
Great. Yeah.
Excellent.
Definitely. I mean, choir or I mean, those all integral parts. Band. I mean, I know that there's band and orchestra boosters and whatever and things like that as well. But just because that's there doesn't mean we're not there too.
Right.
So
All
I'm
part of
happy
the
to work with
community.
everybody and work with all the different groups and whatever. So
Awesome.
great stuff.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? 'Cause I have one more that I want to bring up.
One quick thing I
Yeah.
just wanted to mention on the first day of school,
Uh-huh.
breakfast-ish that we're going to do. I did reach out and get coffee
Okay.
reserved.
Okay.
There's some costs associated with the coffee, and then do we need? I just need to find out how much coffee we need, because they include the creamer.
Mhm.
I can one Canberra, which is 5 gallons of coffee. They said feeds about 75, and that's with the smaller cups, not 12 ounce. So I didn't know if we need 2 or because right now I have 1 on reserve, but they do have 2 available.
I mean, my gut is to say have 2, but I think that's going to be honestly a little wasteful. But I think 1 is going to be a little too little, to be honest. So I don't know what the right answer on that is.
Okay, we can talk offline.
Yeah,
Too.
let's talk about it. Let's figure that out.
Okay.
We did talk about doing a welcome back breakfast on the first day of school for the staff as appreciation. So we're working on that. Yeah, let's take that offline
Okay,
and we'll figure it out
gotcha.
one way or another.
Thanks.
But thanks for bringing that because I was going to bring that up earlier, but that's something we have out there. So, talking about Teen Canteen, Warrior Night Club, whatever we want to call it, Teen Hangout Night, whatever it goes to, we talked about what are the things that kids want to do. So I talked to my kids. I don't know if anybody else has talked to their kids about this. But when we talk about having an open gym area where people can play basketball or whatever it is out there. We talked about having something in the cafeteria where we sell some snacks. We have music or whatever it is playing on a screen or something like that. Maybe not a movie per se, because one of the things that was a complaint was that they had a movie but people would yell at them for talking. We're not doing that. No one's yelling at anybody for talking. I
No
don't care if it's in the
bouncers.
middle of the movie. The whole point is for kids to be there and enjoy themselves and talk if they want to talk, whatever. And if they want to go to a movie, that's maybe not the right place to do it. Go to our movie night or something. But we'll have something there. That's why I thought maybe music videos or something like that. But we'll have to be careful about what music videos, 80s music videos. Whatever it is that we have there, we can figure that portion out. But then I was trying to figure out what are other things that kids would do that's fun. And when we did the Totally Awesome Date Night, or family date night, whatever it was, we brought in a photo booth. And it was a big inflatable photo booth with like LEDs in it that could change colors, and they had props, and then kids could go in there and they could get their picture taken, and they would get the strip with the 3 and whatever. And that was super popular. We paid for it and, you know, worked it all into it. And I want to say it was something like $700 to do it. So, could charge for it. You know, every kid that wants to do it. But it got me thinking, like, I think that would be pretty popular pretty much at every one of these things. Do we
Right.
want to consider the idea
Buying
of
one.
purchasing one? So I looked up rough costs, just as an idea. Like the big inflatable photo booth with the fans and the lights and whatever is about $650. Then you've got to have like the camera or whatever. I have some ideas on that, and may even be able to donate some old camera equipment to make that work. But
Because
yeah.
that's less than the price of renting it for one time.
yes,
So,
Right.
but think
Seems
about it. I mean, if we
seems like a
make that
no-brainer.
investment
Yeah.
and we
Right.
charged whatever it is to do it over time, we would make that money back.
mhm.
The thing that costs about it is if we're going to do printer and then have the printed strips. But then
Sure.
I'm wondering, like, do we even do that? What if we just took the pictures and pushed them up on Instagram, and then kids could tag themselves
Mm-hmm.
in that? Would that be even better than having the photo strip?
Sure.
I don't know.
TikTok,
And then
I
we
think,
don't have to
is
do
better.
the cost of the strip and the printer
Right.
and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So there's options there. I don't know if it's something we want, the group agrees would be a good idea to explore. The nice part about that is if you own it, we can take it out for anything. Again, it's a big inflatable thing. Supposedly it fits in like a 20-gallon tub when it's deflated, and it totally did. That girl pulled up in a SUV with her kid in car seats in the back and pulled it out and whatever. But it wouldn't work for like an outdoor thing like a party because I would blow away or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's an option out there. So, and I'm willing to look into it and see if we want to do something like that. But I just wanted to run that as an idea.
I think it's
Super idea.
yeah something to pursue
I
for
think
sure.
that's something that
Yeah.
won't go old as the years go on.
Mhm.
You're always just snapping pictures and memories.
And then
so.
if we want to provide props or whatever, that's dollar store stuff. People
Right.
can pick
They
up,
can
donate,
change.
whatever it
Yeah.
is, and then stuff gets that we have for that gets trashed. It's trash. We get new stuff or whatever. But it's an option out there. But we could have that at all the family events. We can have it at the teen nights. We can have it at whatever. I think it's a pretty popular
Yeah.
type of thing. I'll send you guys some links of what I was talking about, and you guys can tell me what you think about it.
That would be
So.
cool.
There's a couple suggestions that just came through to make part of the cafe by the stage a dance area and have a DJ for the nights. At a couple dances the last few years, she also did a karaoke room in the choir room.
Well, that was the other thought I had was karaoke,
Yeah.
and just get karaoke machine
That's
and
an awesome
and run
idea.
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, totally. And that's part of it. If we're gonna play music in the cafeteria where we're selling food or whatever, let there be dancing. Whatever. And if you want to dance, dance. If you don't want to dance, that's fine too.
Exactly.
My daughter would say, "Don't dance." When they go to the dances, the few dances she was able to go to, because they didn't have dances last year or whatever. She said most
We're
people
usually
didn't
running around
dance.
crazy all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But there's gonna be some people that
A
want
lot of
if they
that
want to
is
dance, dance.
Crazy Fortnite dances and everything.
I don't want it
in
to
my
be
age
so
group.
scripted that there's so much stuff. This is a teen hangout night, and we just have to figure out what are some basic areas that we can have open for people to do stuff.
Right.
And then we'll see what works, what doesn't work, and we'll take and evolve. from there.
Yeah,
I
this is
think
great.
it would be cool to see, like, if they did want to do a couple of dances, like, I would love her to get, like, a DJ to do a couple of dances, even if they came in for an hour to teach them, like, some of the new dances. To
Oh.
see if they actually would do it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't know them.
Well, then use
Like the
TikTok
wedding
so they can do their
dances
TikTok
type of-
dances,
well, there
right?
Yes.
you go. Well, see, I don't even know TikTok, right?
You got to join our TikTok
I do need
account
to
now.
get
Yeah.
it. Good job.
Careful, it's
I do.
addictive. I know
Yeah.
why they call it.
I'll
I
show
just
you
joined.
offline.
I
It's
know why they
fun.
call it TikTok because you start looking, and all of a
And then all of a
sudden
sudden
the
time's
clock is
gone.
just moved. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fall into a deep
I don't know if
hole.
that's really the reason why or not.
Makes
but,
sense though.
But yeah, it totally does.
The old teen canteen from years of tradition, it was an actual dance in the cafe. She has many friends with super fond memories of AUGS teen canteen.
I
So
am one of
resurrect.
those. I am one of those. Yes.
All
We
right,
had
great.
super huge line dances.
There we go.
Fun.
That
It
type
was
of stuff
fun.
I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
fun.
we'll see. We'll see. And sky's the limit. I think for the first one, let's just have music or whatever it is playing,
Yeah.
Easy.
and then we can think about doing a DJ or whatever. We'll introduce it as time goes on.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe we can even get. I have some ideas that can be low cost for that.
Nice. I like low cost.
So
Good.
let me save them. We'll talk about them as a group, and then we'll figure out how that
I
goes.
have one more idea
Yeah.
for food night, because I think, and don't kill the messenger, but I think that for this age group, you know, they've done Culver's and Antioch Pizza and everything to death,
Yeah.
because, you know, they're
Yeah.
older.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if we could start hitting maybe Anastasia's, because they have that big banquet room for
Mhm.
AUGS night.
I have heard that they don't work with the schools.
Really?
So I don't know, I'm sure you could use your skills.
I don't know.
But
Try and
I've heard
see.
that. I haven't specifically, I don't have any
That's-
personal knowledge of that. I mean, I know the owner's wife a little bit, because her one son and my daughter are the same age, but,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
could, it's not something we that should pursue. That's
Right,
just something that I
right.
heard.
And I was wondering, like, what
But
about
that could be fun.
RJ's? Because RJ's is huge,
Mhm.
and I know that he helps a lot with Lakes High School.
Mhm.
So I thought, why couldn't
Make it
they
more of a
have-
gathering type thing than just
Exactly.
get your food and go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be able to. I mean,
Like a
part of
social.
the fun of that is
Right.
seeing other people.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you see the people you don't want to see. We'll be honest about that, but there are things that I mean, when you think about Scoopy Night, what's the cool part about that for the young kids? Oh, I get to see my T-shirt,
Exactly.
and that would be great if we can
Yes.
get some staff out to
Right.
some of these or whatever.
Yes.
However, I think it's see a friend or go
Right.
with a friend or whatever. But it's also the idea is, oh well, I need to plan something for dinner anyways. I've got nothing planned. All right, well we'll just do this. It's going to support school, whether it's
Exactly.
takeout or whatever. Who knows? But Johnny's Chop House or not Snack Shop. Sorry,
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
do it, and they've got plenty. They've got a good amount of space
I
in there
wonder
now.
if Jerry would do it with this, you know, they have the Library Ale House opening
Mhm.
and the Lodge.
Lodge will do.
And will they?
Yes.
So why couldn't, because, I mean, bombarding one of his restaurants might be a little overwhelming, but if he opened it to both,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't wanna speak for him, but.
We can ask.
We can ask if he would do both.
Sky's the limit. It doesn't have
Right.
to. It doesn't have to be.
Exactly.
But you know what? We can even do Wendy's, like the Wendy's in Lake Villa. I think or not Lake Villa, Lindenhurst. I was right there, and they said something that was like 30%.
30%, and I'm
Yeah.
They
already
do.
logged in
Yeah.
as a user.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So-
Panera Bread does it too.
They'll set it
Mhm.
up once a month.
So we can do
however,
stuff like
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
happens.
You know, I want to be
Panera Bread,
careful about going
Portillo's.
too far. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with doing some, but I want to also support local
Right,
for
right.
things.
Yeah.
We talked about Dairy Queen. That's another one, and that's if the weather's good. We can try to do some
Right.
kind of night. Kids can hang out. They'll see somebody in the parking lot.
Right, that's a huge thing.
You know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, we'll see. But yes, sky's the limit on that one as far as I'm concerned. And we don't
Just trying
have to
think
do.
of really good chat,
Hmm Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
and that is difficult now. Like Antioch Pizza, that's great for taking out, but they closed off their seating
Right,
last time I was in there.
right.
And you know, I would like to support them because I know what they do for
Oh,
like the
so much.
honor roll and stuff
Right.
like that. They're a fantastic business for supporting that kind of stuff. But you're right, it does make it hard to do those in-person things. The other place I thought about asking if we could do something, it's not a traditional time, but what about Vegas Cafe?
Mhm. Yeah,
Do breakfast.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, nobody does breakfast.
So, and maybe it's on a day off school or something like that.
Right.
You know, I don't know if they'd even be willing to do it because it seems like they're pretty darn busy
Yeah,
on their own.
right.
But
Right,
it's worth asking.
right.
You know, as far as Anastasia's go, it's worth asking.
Absolutely,
See what
yeah.
happens. Somebody wants to reach out there.
Right.
You know, who knows what's transpired in the past or whatever, but it's
Right.
worth looking at. And we do have a bigger range, you know, of places. You know, Lake Villa, Lindenhurst, Timothy O'Toole's is another one that we could look at. I think I said that really weird. I don't know why I said that, but that's a place that we could look at. There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, 'cause I know that the bands do Antioch Pizza for their booster.
Mhm. and that's the other thing. I don't want to do something that everybody's because I don't want it to always be. God,
Then you're-
I'm
yeah,
so
you're so
sick of
bombarded.
Antioch
Yes.
Pizza.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
not to say that they're sick of Antioch Pizza. They're just sick of
Right.
pizza.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so let's
That's why
find something
at
else.
Oakland we started reaching out to other places.
Mhm.
We did the Lodge and we did Sammy's and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But again, it was more. It was still a little iffier then, and people were mostly just picking up and taking home.
Right.
You weren't gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember when we first started Culver's, the kids were so excited to go to Culver's.
Mhm.
We overwhelmed them. We had to split it
Yeah.
into different
Yeah.
nights for the grades.
Yeah.
Right.
But the kids were so excited to do that. And,
Yeah, if we can translate
wanna
that
bring
into
it
this
back.
age group.
right, I just
Yeah.
want to bring it back for the kids
Yeah.
to be
Mhm.
excited to go back to that.
Me
Okay.
too. That'd be awesome.
So yeah. So I guess let's figure out the first one or two, get them on the books, and then we can figure out other ones from there.
Sure.
And you know, as we're go out and about, think about like, oh, that would be a good one. You know, but like you said, rivalries opening up soon. Maybe we can do something with them. I don't know as far as the timeline for the other one that used to be David's Bistro. That's
Barbecue Productions. Is that
with
what they're
Barbecue
going in?
Productions, but it's got a different name. It's Firehouse or something. Something like that. It's firehouse themed, and so when they open
It's a
up, that's something
completely
we can
different
try to
concept,
work with
so
them.
That's
Yeah.
what I heard. They were very secretive about what it's going to be. But when I contacted him, I had the information for the catering guy.
Uh-huh.
But he said it's a completely different concept. And
Then
that's all I
Barbecue
can
Productions.
say.
It is.
Yeah.
It's from my understanding, it's a little bit more family oriented and not barbecue stuff. So it's more like sandwiches and things like that. That's my
Mhm.
understanding.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But it's not just barbecue stuff. But it's him, and you know he's running it and whatever. But it's not just barbecue stuff. You know. So
Mexican Paradise might
Yep,
be,
I put that
They
one
are.
down too. Yeah.
because they
they're a
have
little bit
both
smaller, and
sides.
oh, they do have both sides. But
Yeah.
is the one side all gaming?
I don't think so. I think
I haven't been
they
over there.
opened it originally as like a lounge.
Okay.
But if we were going to do a school night, maybe we could ask them. to
Or like
open
one
it
part
up.
of
Yeah. So
Yeah.
totally an option. I was
Yeah.
gonna suggest them, but I'm like, I don't know if they have a lot of seating.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll figure stuff like
Yeah.
that out and
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
you know see what we can do.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Alright.
Just adding on to the teen canteen. I lost the live. There it is. What happened to it? I'm sorry. She had said there was Eric Dorman had
Yep.
messaged that they had done a Dance Dance Revolution,
okay,
the full-on arcade game, and that was a big hit.
okay.
And then I don't know what happened with the live. Hang on. Having an alumni event, maybe at the teen canteen, to have other students come, I'm sure is.
Oh, that would be so much
We could do
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe
Yeah.
that the alumni event is if we're gonna do a parade with the winter thing, maybe we invite the alumni to come
That would be great.
march
This
with us
sounds
and then end it
nice.
back at the thing. Or if we're gonna do an alumni event or that parent night out at the rivalry, whatever it is, or
Yeah.
wherever we end up doing it in October, maybe we call that a homecoming type event. And we invite alumni plus parents for that night out
Fun.
and
Yeah.
do something like that.
Eric Dorman
So,
said a wiffle ball on the softball field with good weather before it gets dark could be fun.
yeah,
Yeah, that
So-
a lot of great ideas. Thank you
there's
so
tons,
much.
and the problem that we're gonna have is picking the ideas and which ones
Yeah.
we're gonna do because I don't think we can do them all.
You can
this
go
year,
on all
but-
night, right?
Yep, yep, we'll figure it
Well,
out.
and getting enough volunteers to help cover everything
Yes.
that we
Yes.
want to do.
So yeah, I mean, looking at some of those things, these are a lot of these things that we talked about were covered in these surveys, and there's a lot of the different items. So I'm guessing a lot of the people that are on here filled out a survey. It's my guess.
Yes.
So, but yes, keep the ideas coming in. We want to keep hearing the ideas and things like that because that's what we need. We need more ideas and things to get excited about and expand our horizons, try new things. So.
Exactly.
So keep it up, you know, and that goes on there. Keep an eye on Facebook, things like that. We'll put out polls and surveys and things like that just to get ideas of what people are looking for and whatever. And another thing that I used to do with all of our events and activities is I would always do a follow-up survey. And I would post these
Thought that's
out
where you're going with
after
those, I was
every
gonna say.
single event. We would say, hey, did you go to this event? Yes, I went to it. Or no, I didn't go to the event, and here's why, because it was too much money, or it was at a bad time for me, or whatever. I want to hear the positives. I want to hear the negatives. I want to hear all of it, because that's the only way we'll get better and do the things that everybody wants.
Yep.
So, yes, there's stuff that can be discredited because you can sometimes tell on those that somebody is just being a little crabby pants. But I always take it at face value and want to know what people are thinking, because if I start to see that as a repeat thing, there's truth in that. So, always for that. Constructive criticism is great. So, keep the ideas coming, keep the feedback coming, everyone, please. So, with that, I think we're 30 minutes over our time. I apologize. I had a feeling that was going to go. I
Especially
told
the
these
first
ladies
one.
to keep me in check, and they said we normally go long anyways. And I'm like, oh great, that makes 4
We're
of
all
us.
just so excited
Yeah.
for
So,
the
well,
coming
there's a lot
year
going.
and-
There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, there is.
So hopefully we'll get better at making these on time more often. So thank you for everyone who chipped in and whatever. We're really excited. We hope you're excited, and it's been fun. So thank you for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank